I'm Jim Collison, and live from the Gallup campus here in Omaha, Nebraska. This is Gallup's Called the Coach, recorded on April 11th. It's Micah's birthday, by the way, 2019. Called the Coach is a resource for those who want to help others discover and use their strengths. We have Gallup experts and independent strengths coaches share tactics, insights, and strategies to help coaches maximize the talent of individuals, teams, and organizations around the world. If you have questions during this live webcast, we have a chat room available for you. We're on 24 today, and that has a chat room called Group Chat. We'd love to have you. It's just a little button below the video window down there. You can find it. Hover over those icons down below. They'll tell you what they are. And to join us in Group Chat, we'll take your questions live. If you're listening after the fact, if you're either on 24 listening after, or you're on YouTube, or you're listening through the podcast, send us an email, coaching@gallup.com. Today may be one of those sessions where we have a lot of links for you. And so if you get hung up at any time in that, just pause the video, grab something to write with. You can write those down. But if you have any questions, just always remember coaching@gallup.com. Don't forget to visit the Gallup Strengths Center, just gallupstrengthscenter.com for all your CliftonStrengths coaching resources and training needs. You can also catch the video and downloadable audio. We call that podcast. Best way to kind of stay up with what we're doing all the time is through the podcast. You can subscribe to it that way. All the links to figure out how to get that done is available on our coaches blog. Go to coaching.gallup.com. Micah Librant's our host today. She's a workplace consultant here at Gallup. Micah, great to have you on these updates. We got a special guest today as well, but welcome to Called the Coach.
Thanks. Today's going to be a really great opportunity. Really, we designed these community update calls just as a way to say, hey, we've gotten a lot of questions from maybe every corner of the globe, and we want to make sure that we're answering those in a way that benefits everybody, even perhaps the people who didn't know they were curious about these things. But today we have absolutely Jim, I'm going to say this out loud, even with you in the room, my favorite partner to work with. Angela Davenport is joining us today because she really makes all the wheels keep spinning. And gosh, talk about complementary strengths. She definitely keeps Jim and I in line. You'll get to see why today.
Thank you, Micah. It's great to be here.
Angela, last update for February, we spent a lot of time talking about the value of a certification, and we've recorded that in video form. You can listen to that. Micah, you and I and Jeremy got together, and Angela did this as well. We made some videos for you. That's on our certification page. But we kind of wanted to come back this update and hear from Angela on some of the tactical things around certification and the value of it from what more than just what we provide in our certification, but actually some external stuff. Micah, you are, when folks are certifying, you work with them individually at times. It's a chance to, if folks are struggling a little bit or whatever, we kind of help coach them through. Let me kick it over to you, and then we'll bring Angela in, though, a little bit. Anything before we start with Angela, anything else you'd add in?
Sure. So I do get to work quite a bit helping shuffle people through our Gallup certification. And I think we talked, in a previous update about the importance and the benefit of being certified. Really, it is just keeping, I'll tell it this way. I had somebody come work on my Wi-Fi because Jim Collison kept telling me that it was dropping. And the guy who showed up to work on my Wi-Fi climbed up into my attic and did something. I wasn't there, but he came back down and he says, yeah, you had a little ingress in your wires. I still don't know what that means, but I know what he did to fix it was he cleaned out all the plaque so that I had a better connection. And that's one thing that certification does for you, is it removes any hurdles and makes sure that we are still connected to you and you're still connected to us, so that you, number one, can have that sort of validation externally for your clients, but also you can stay really connected to anything that's going on, anything that's new, any more relevant discoveries that's really going to help you change the lives of your clients. So I think it's been a wonderful journey, and I always love getting to see coaches who are going through that process with us. But another great benefit of thinking about Gallup coursework and where it gets you is it's not just that Gallup certification. We do quite a bit of work to help coaches earn coaching credentials from the International Coach Federation. And I've had the pleasure of getting to watch what's happening as we're trying to describe and create a really great certification engine and stay in compliance with everything that ICF really has designed for us. And in my 11 years at Gallup, it's been a wonderful journey to get to see how ICF has set a gold standard for coaching that then we learn from and we can adapt to, and we can really make sure that as we're teaching, it really is a beneficial complementary experience to the learning that you really want to meet that gold standard of coaching. That way we know that the common language we're speaking truly is common, and the common mission we have syncs up and goes even further with other coaches around the world who I think are trying to do the same thing, help individuals make slight shifts in their days, in their lives, in their work to really improve their experience and that of those around them. So, Angela, I'd just like to maybe hear from you a little bit on this first topic around earning coaching credentials from ICF. Can you talk us through what the opportunities are and what people should really have in mind?
Yeah, absolutely. And, similar to the Gallup certification, the certification from ICF really helps coaches around the globe have that endorsement from the leading certification body in the world around the profession of coaching. So we have purposefully designed our curriculum to align to the coaching competencies ICF has defined. So regardless if you're a Gallup certified coach or not, if you've taken Gallup coursework, you can use those courses and that learning time towards a certification from ICF. We do have a great recording posted out there for you where I walk through the details of actually how you would do that and the 4 major requirements that ICF requires and what those components are and what Gallup courses qualify. So I encourage you to check that out. If an ICF certification is of interest to you, just know that all of our courses are approved, and most of them are approved for core competency hours. So for example, the Accelerated Strengths Coaching course gives you 34.5 approved hours towards the 60 hours that they require for the initial certification from ICF. So many times I'll receive questions from folks who aren't yet ICF certified or are not familiar with ICF, but they have a certification with someone. It might be through the Society for Human Resource Management or the HR Certification Institute, or even I've had a veterinarian reach out to me and say, hey, I have to do continuing education credits. And so if you've gone through any of our courses, we're willing and able to support providing the proof for you that you've completed those learning hours. So you can contact us at CEU@gallup.com, C as in continuing, E as in education, U as in unit at Gallup.com, and let us know what course you completed and what you need proof for. So if it's for ICF, SHRM, HRCI, we have specific letters we can provide for you that shows you completed that course and the learning hours associated with it. In the example of the veterinarian, the certification was not through any of those. And so we provide more of a standard completion letter that verifies indeed the participant took the course on a particular day and confirm the learning hours, so that then the vet was able to turn around and self-report those learning hours towards the certification. So we want to support you in your professional development journey, regardless of what certification you have, and it doesn't have to be ICF. So that's something available anytime. You can also just email us at the email address frequently, certification@gallup.com, and we'll make sure that gets to our team who responds and provides those completion letters.
So Angela, let me get this straight. What if I didn't do this ahead of time and I realized maybe I took a class in the past that I now want to have credit for? Am I still eligible?
Yes, perfect. And that's how it often happens. So in all of our courses that have professional credit hours approved with the course, we include in the course materials a copy of the flyer that talks about those professional credit hours. But in the example of ASC, for example, I know that participants walk out of that class with lots of things to think about. And that's a minor detail that easily could be missed or overlooked or saved for later. So we receive inquiries from coaches who say, hey, I went through ASC back in 2014 or 2018, whatever it is, and we can dig up those records to confirm the attendance and provide that proof of learning.
Mike, I'll let you continue. We were thinking exactly the same thing. I will say this though, Angela, one of those specific things is our learning series that we do. So every January we do a learning series, and there's credits associated with that. The Desired credits are those catching it live, right? But there are credits if you want to go back and watch those, right? Can you talk a little bit about how they could take advantage of the learning series?
Yeah, absolutely. The learning series, those recordings are posted. And for ICF specifically, in order to get competency hours, you have to be a part of the webinar live so that you have the opportunity to ask a question of the instructor. And per their requirements, if you listen to the recording on demand, you don't have that opportunity. So those hours then would be resource development hours. But again, hours that work towards either an initial certification or a renewal of a certification. So if you go back and listen to some of those recordings, you can email us again and say, hey, I've now listened to these 4 sessions from the learning series, and we'll provide you that completion letter based on if you attended live or on demand. And that's something, if you attended the learning series live or at least registered for it, you would have received the event evaluation. And so through that process, we provided those completion letters. But we also realized that after the learning series, you might go back and listen to additional sessions on demand at a later time. So you can always email us and we can provide that updated documentation.
So if you're anything like me, your eyes might be spinning a little bit and you're thinking, I thought this says community update. This feels like a process update. How do I make sense of it? I have to just tell you a quick sort of inside baseball story. I got certified at the entry level with ICF last year and thought that was maybe as far as I was going to go. It was a lot of work to get there. Angela helped me through the process, but I was not even thinking about that PCC level certification. And then Angela last week sends me this email. It was probably 2 weeks ago because she's on top of things. Sends me an email that says, hey, Micah, can you tell us what you've participated in? And just looking backwards at the things I'd already been a part of, I realized, wow, I'm over halfway to that next level of ICF certification. So I think a lot of this is really validating for our active community out here who maybe doesn't even realize what they've already stacked up kind of in their back pocket. And we can help you with that. So you don't even have to do the hunting backwards and see what's, stacked in the back of your closet. You can contact CEU at Gallup.com and help them kind of sort through what you may have already used and not even realize that you had.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And
so Angela, go ahead.
I was going to say the certification, if it's through ICF, even the Gallup certification, we all know people around the world are very familiar with Gallup. And so that additional branding opportunity that the certification Gallup gives you, if you pursue an ICF certification, there are many organizations that really want to know the quality of the coach they're hiring. So that endorsement is beneficial to you and your business for sure.
Right. So if you're on this right now, you can click on that resources tab at the bottom of your screen and take a look at some great resources there to really lead you through a couple of things that we've done. Angela, I also get questions. In fact, just yesterday, I got a question from somebody who had certified about 2 years ago, was aware that his Gallup certification was about to expire and pretty concerned around recertification. So can you tell me maybe how I should have responded? And then I'll just pretend that that's exactly what I said.
I'm sure you responded with something like this. Our Gallup-certified coaches who speak English recertify through our recertification portal. So how that happens is when you're 90 days away from that certification expiration date, you'll receive an email from us, and again at 60 days, and again at 30 days. And in those emails, you'll be invited to follow the link into the portal, and you receive some on-the-spot learning via some, I would say a refresher of the essentials of strengths-based coaching. And that's something you can do at your own pace. And then there is a link to our recertification quiz, which I like to point out is much shorter than the initial certification exam. And thus we call it a quiz. So everyone can not get too nervous about the recertification quiz. It's only 20 questions. It's multiple choice. And you complete that. And upon passing that with 85%, just like the pass rate of the initial certification, you're renewed, and you're renewed for another 2 years. Now, we do offer, because our portal right now is restricted to, the capabilities of that are restricted to English, for our other languages, once a year, we host an in-language recertification webinar. So we'll send an email invite to coaches who apply for or who are eligible for those in their specific language. And we do it that way for our additional languages.
So it really sounds like you'll be taken care of is the answer, right? So what if you feel like, gosh, I'm worried about this, or maybe my email address has changed? What can coaches do proactively to make sure that they're still staying on top of things? Yeah,
that's a great point, because we do find that email addresses change frequently, and sometimes people forget to let Gallup know that indeed the email address has changed. So one of the things in our recertification process, after that 90 days, if someone hasn't recertified, we also send a letter via good old postal mail, and we let the coach know, hey, your recertification has now expired. We've been trying to reach you. And in the event that you didn't receive our 90, 60, and 30-day emails, then you can call us and say, oh, my email address changed, and we can get you back in the system and updated so you do get those notifications, and we can work through that recertification process for you at that point, because we do realize sometimes email addresses change. So anytime you do have a preference change of what email address you want Gallup to use to be in touch with you, please let us know at certification@gallup.com.
Sounds great.
Angela, we're coming up on the summit, and I know there's a fast track available at the summit. If you want to do this there, can you just kind of fast track that information?
Yeah, for sure. So those of you who have completed Gallup coursework but haven't yet gone for the Gallup certification, we offer what we call the fast track certification at the summit as an additional benefit of attending the summit. And that's an in-person 2.5-hour session. And the difference there is because you're coming to the summit and you're receiving that in-person review, the certification exam is shorter, and the 6 coaching evaluations requirement is waived. So if you're coming to the summit, that's a great way to complete that certification process in 2.5 hours. You get a great review with one of our awesome instructors. You take the certification exam on the spot, and you walk out with your certification certificate at the end of the session. Those sessions are all posted with the summit offerings, so you can find those there. They're complimentary sessions. There's no cost for those sessions. And on a similar note, for those coaches who are certified, we offer recertification at the summit. Very similar approach, in-person, instructor-led session, review of the essentials of strengths-based coaching, short recertification quiz on the spot, leave with your renewed credential and certificate.
On the spot.
On the spot. Yes.
What do people need to do in order to register for that? Is there anything they need to do ahead of time to make sure that they're ready showing up for those courses?
Yes, great question. So it's a part of the summit registration, so you definitely want to select that. And we do have a window of opportunity this is for coaches who are due to recertify anytime between now and August 31st. If you're not due to renew until September or later, we'll want you to recertify via the portal, because we want you to experience the full 2 years of your benefit. And so we do that around the summit. So you just register. If you've already registered for the summit and you didn't realize this was an option, you can go back and add this to your registration, and then we'll be prepared for you at those sessions in person.
Excellent. I'm just reading some of our questions now from our chat group. There is an interesting question, and I don't know if we can even answer this right now, but are there any thoughts of getting called to coach sessions for ICF credits, either core for live or including post-show for resource development? Jim or Angela, do you know if that's ever been talked about?
That's a great question, and I haven't. I think, Angela, that's something you and I need to talk about. There's quite a bit of work that goes into getting these things ICF certified, and I'm not sure that's necessarily scalable, but Angela, any thoughts? Just is that question?
It is something we could consider. We have done it obviously with the learning series, and that's we've chosen to do that through the learning series because of the focus of that, where it's a week, it's 7 or 8 sessions, it's planned, it's packaged, like that's an event, that's a virtual learning that the ongoing, the scalability of call to coach sessions, we would have to, part of it is the content and the how much what we're presenting, and if that aligns directly with the competencies or if it's more supporting resource development. It's definitely something we'd have to explore. I'm not sure about the scalability.
Sure. I'm just kind of following all these chats here, and it looks like maybe that desire is people who are pursuing ICF certification and looking for mentorship hours. And it isn't yet quite common to find people who speak strengths and are also eligible to offer that mentorship. So I would say definitely something that we're keeping on our radar, but as of now, not something that we necessarily are your solution to.
Actually, for mentoring hours, we can be a solution, because the mentoring hours for ICF, if a coach wants to purchase an hour of coaching from a Gallup coach, we have ICF certified coaches, Gallup, who can be the coach for that coaching session or series, who also meet the criteria to be a mentor for ICF. So you can find those options on courses.gallup.com under the coaching tab. And then it would be the Master Strengths Coaching, which is coaching for coaches. So that is a way, if you're looking for a mentor to meet those ICF mentoring hours requirements, it's kind of a unique niche, but we definitely have folks who could help you with that.
Fantastic. See, Angela, I told you, my favorite partner. I'm already using my strategic saying, nope, can't do it, go around it. And I should have just slowed down and asked you, because you already had a solution.
Well, and mentoring is different. The requirements around mentoring are different than learning hours. And, one other point I would say about the question around call to coach is, depending on what the certification is, or if it's initial certification versus renewal certification, many of the certification bodies, including ICF, allow a coach to self-report some learning. So participating in a call to coach, for example, could be something that a coach would track on their own towards their renewal requirements of an ICF certification. So it would be considered resource development time. It helps the coach be a better coach, but that hour of learning from call to coach doesn't have to be pre-approved by ICF for the coach to claim it. So back to the coach who asked that question, if you're already ICF certified, capture all this learning that you're doing, because they do allow a portion of those renewal hours to be not pre-approved already. And so that a call to coach session could qualify in that specific example.
We have one final topic to cover. Angela, do you mind if I start on this one? I know you wrote it out, but can I walk through it? Is that okay?
Go for it. Yeah.
All right. Good. This is my favorite part, because this is what I deal with all the time. So one, if your email address with us has changed, and for whatever reason, we see a lot of movement in our coaching community of either changing your physical address or changing your email address. You might have a new business contact. And we really rely on having the correct email address for you to get information out to you. So if you've stopped hearing from us or you started using a new email address, we'd really love you to have us send us that information so we can update our database. Certification@gallup.com. Just send us that note, what you're changing it to, and our team will go in there and get that changed. 2, we have a monthly newsletter. I'm going to say, and it's 10 out of 12 months every year. We don't hit every single month, but we hit most on those. We have a coaches newsletter that's often packed with great information about a lot of these things that we're talking about. We talk about the coaches discount. We talk about what's upcoming at the summit. A lot of what we talked about today is in that coaches newsletter. We just sent one out last Friday, April 5th. And so if you're not getting the newsletter, for all English-speaking coaches who have English in our database as their preferred language, that should be coming automatically to you. If it's not, let us know, certification@gallup.com, so we can figure out why it's not getting to you on that. If you want to get it in English, in that your preferred language in our database is another language other than English, that may be another reason you're not getting it. Again, send us an email and we can add you to a list so we make sure you're going to get it in English. We're not currently translating it into other languages yet, but if you want to get it in English, it will be available as that way. So a couple things to stay connected, really, really, really important. that you are getting that. If for whatever reason none of those are working, I also post a copy every single time it comes out of the newsletter to our Facebook group. So facebook.com/groups/called-to-coach, and I take a PDF and post it inside that group every single month that we put it out. Angela, anything else, or Micah, that I missed as far as staying connected?
That was great. I would just add that Jim, Micah, and I will all be at the summit. So if you're coming to that, we'll look forward to seeing you there. If you have additional questions, email us anytime. But we will have a certification booth at the summit to answer questions live throughout the entire event.
I think one thing we have not mentioned is just how much we desire to have people involved. Really, that goal of changing the world doesn't happen just by all of us kind of going out and winging it. And I think certification is the equivalent of us all just sort of linking hands and saying, let's do this on purpose. Let's do this together. Let's stay connected as we experience coaching and as we experience the sort of slight shifts that people can make in their lives. So it's easy to look at this as something that really makes you look good on paper, but I can tell you from experience that it truly is something that can change you and improve your practice as a coach.
Angela, thank you for taking the time today out of your busy schedule to come in. And Angela's serious. She'd love to meet you. If you have certification questions at the summit, we're out there. We make ourselves very available during the summit. If you haven't signed up for the summit yet, we are getting very close to filling that. So June 3rd, 4th, and 5th here in Omaha, Nebraska. If you want to join us, you can go to CliftonStrengthsSummit.com and get registered today. We'd love to see you here. June is just the best month in the city of Omaha, by the way. It's just, our weather is beautiful. The sunshine is out. The flowers are blooming. You'll want to join us if you want to do that. Micah, before I close this, any other thoughts from you?
So this is our second community update, and I'm just excited to have this opportunity. We will probably see you in person before there's another community update because it'll be the summit. Jim's not kidding when he says June really is the best time to be here. If you haven't checked out the agenda for the CliftonStrengths Summit yet, you'll notice that we've planned some really fun things around the great learning and networking that you already have, including a Celebrate Omaha evening where we get to just kind of host an entire block party, you and 1,200 of your closest strengths coach enthusiast friends. And we really are turning the tide on how people think about how they work and live. So thank you for being a part of this community.
Well, we'll remind everyone to take full advantages of all the resources we have available at the Gallup Strength Center, just GallupStrengthsCenter.com. If you have questions beyond this, and maybe even some suggestions from Micah and I on these community updates, what else would you like to hear? We focused on the value of certification and some of the tactical things behind certification. ICF is mentioned this time. But if you have some ideas of some things you'd like us to cover, send us an email, coaching@gallup.com. Put community update in the subject line. They'll route that over to me, and we can maybe cover that in our next update. Don't forget all the links to all of this. If you're listening live on, or if you're listening to the YouTube or the podcast version of this, all this information we mentioned, it's available on the On24 broadcast, but we'll make it available in the show notes as well. You can head over to coaching.gallup.com. Don't forget, we have a very exciting launch of a brand new book called It's the Manager. We are really excited about all the work that we're doing, especially around strengths. You might be thinking, it's the manager. Oh, no, that's not strengths related. That could not be any farther from the truth. We know an impact of a coach inside an organization is most effective when they're really reaching the managers. And so in your work, in your strengths work, we have put a clinic together in this book, 52 chapters made exactly for managers on how to make their workplace a better place. So that will launch on May 7th. You can get access to it right now. It's the Manager, all one word. Itsthemanager.com. You can sign up to purchase it in advance. We also have a bunch of resources available for you there. An amazing addition to what you're doing on coaching. Micah, maybe that'll be something we cover in the next community update, because by that time that book will be launched and it will already be a bestseller. So you want to get out there and get that done. Don't forget to join us in the Facebook group with any question, facebook.com/group/called-to-coach. We'd love to have you there. We'll be back with the next community update with Called to Coach. Theme Thursdays coming back here in a couple months right after the summit. And we'll look forward to that. With that, we'll say goodbye, everybody.